Hello, guys, and welcome to this Audible Anomaly News 4 or 5. I forget already. It seems like too many. It seems like 20, to be honest.
Sure.
But as always, I'm Broseph.
I'm Kevin.
And I'm Davey.
And I guess we'll get started real quick with, I guess, our only piece of emu this week. We got a mistake I made. I remembered Zampella correctly from last week's news podcast, but unfortunately I couldn't remember his first name. It's Vince Zampella, who's the CEO of Respawn Entertainment, a.k.a. creators of Titanfall. So that's really all we got from that. So with that said, we can move on to this week's news. As you all know, it was CES 2014. So we were going to do a recap of this, but we figured, it's better material for podcast, for discussion topics and what have you. So we'll be discussing that in podcast 11. I guess we'll throw a link down to podcast 11 in the description so you guys can check that out. That's pretty much all we're going to be talking about mostly. So yeah. Moving on, the University of Texas at Arlington is developing minuscule, and I do mean minuscule, windmills. They say you can fit up to 10 on a single grain of rice, which is absolutely crazy. The idea for this is that you can possibly throw about hundreds of them onto like a cell phone case, for instance, and it can charge your cell phone using tiny little windmills. They're absolutely tiny. We have a video for it, as well as the small little article on it. And yeah, just crazy. They're seriously tiny. Like, it's mind-boggling. I believe they have one right next to a penny, and it's
I think
damn small. Like, yeah, it's really, really small. So with that, I guess we'll move on to the next story.
It's so small, but it's such big news. It doesn't make any sense to me. Anywho, apparently someone has come out. I don't remember who. But I don't think it was Disney. Talking about Star Wars movies. Disney announced that they did have some spin-offs from the mainline Star Wars in the works, and someone has finally confirmed that one of them is going to be about Boba Fett. So I am very excited about that. They're guessing it's not going to be so much an origin story as a coming-of-age tale, because you kind of see his origin story in Attack of the Clones, but whatever. Yeah, so for that.
Well, looks like the world's top pasta manufacturer, which actually distributes like 25% of America's pasta, will be making a 3D printer pasta printer for restaurants to use in their restaurant. So instead of having to order all this pasta, they just make it. So,
Yeah.
get ready for colorful pasta.
That would be most interesting.
I think they were going more for cool shapes than colors.
Like,
Why not
Had
both?
A really fancy dinner, romantic dinner, and you get rose-shaped pasta. Or you
In
have
rose color.
heart-shaped pasta. Rose
color.
heart-shaped pasta.
Yeah, maybe you can print out roses on a fake,
pasta roses.
But wouldn't it be ruined anyways when it is
It's eaten.
cooked in the water? Because it gets all...
No, it'll maintain the shape. It's like shells.
Oh, I guess
shells,
shells,
yeah.
shells.
Yeah.
But even shells...
Shells
They're-
don't go misshapen.
They're soft, but they do keep their
They're soft,
shape.
but they keep their shape.
Some of them will crack inevitably,
Well,
but
there's that.
They still get very mushy.
absolutely. But no, they'll be just make it thick enough so it retains its shape. Yeah, it'd be fun.
It'll be very, thick piece of pasta.
It would. Well, you'd be surprised.
Because it had to be filled with pasta. It couldn't be,
Are you saying you're gonna make ravioli now?
I mean, we could... well, no, because inside the ravioli would be more pasta. It'd have to be a solid piece of pasta, that's what I'm saying.
No. It'd just be structured. Structured pasta.
But when you cook it in the water, it loses all...
Not all.
Well...
No, it'll keep it. Don't worry about it. These guys have been working on this for years. Literally years.
I'm
they've been
skeptical.
designing it.
Just go with it. Just go
Skeptical
with
at shapes, except for the snake.
Okay.
it. Okay.
They can
We're not making that joke.
I'm seriously trying to refrain. So with that, I'm just gonna move on to
Making
more.
the snake for years.
Okay.
Speaking of snakes, there is a story about a possible bedtime story augmented reality app that may be coming soon. It's more than just an app because it actually comes with a textiled blanket or bed sheet as it is. But it pretty much uses the bed sheet as like a template or the patterns of it to use your camera on like your say iPad or maybe iPhone or Android tablets or whatever. It uses that camera, and within the screen itself, it projects an actual 3D image, augmented reality style. So they said they're trying to develop some bedtime stories with this. Pretty interesting little thing. Not too much about it. We have an article as well as a video that explains roughly how it works. It's pretty decent though. Pretty solid. So yeah, I guess unless you guys have anything to add on that, not sure. That's really it. So yeah, we'll move on.
Moving on to some more interesting stories of nighttime activity. Some research. I'm not good at segues. I don't
I'm
normally
good at
try.
writing segues.
I don't know. So
I'm gonna go straight into this one. According to some research, it looks like that you will not lose any brain cells to drinking until you get to lethal portions. So, as you know, to the point where you're dying, not alcohol poisoning, you're dying. Yeah, you're not really
I don't
losing.
think you get your head cut off when you drink too much.
Well, depends if who you anger.
it's like those get rid of
I guess
cable
so.
commercials. When you drink, you piss off a guy, and then just the whole chainsaw, and it ends up with your head off, and you're just walking around with your head on your,
That's why you should have gotten
Fine,
direct
whatever.
TV.
Exactly.
But yeah, you won't lose any brain cells. So
Good to know.
Drink responsibly.
Still a good idea to drink responsibly.
of course.
Anywho, in other food-ish news, scientists at Harvard have been testing rhubarb-based batteries. I don't remember how. There was some chemical in rhubarb that made a good battery. But yeah, they found it to be shockingly delicious.
Watch out, potatoes. They're coming for you.
I think the boiled potato, right?
Boiled.
Would still do better. But I could be wrong. It's
I guess
cheaper,
we'll see,
you know.
rhubarb. I guess we'll see. And game on.
They had some pictures. It was nasty looking. It was like this gooey green stuff in a canister. Yeah. Pleasant way to end the day. In other news, Awesome Games Done Quickly, a week-ish long speedrunning fundraiser, raised over $1 million in donations. So good on them.
Spectacular stuff, yeah. I guess I'll move on with a follow-up piece to that. I believe it was yesterday that I first saw this story, or the day before, but it was Mike Tyson, punch out! Apparently there's two blindfolded people who played Mike Tyson. One of them played Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. The other one played Super Punch-Out, which is the SNES follow-up to Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. The first guy playing Mike Tyson's Punch-Out got all the way until Mike Tyson. The very last battle, or fight, if you will, completely blindfolded. And he said, okay, look, it's almost impossible to beat Mike Tyson blindfolded because one hit, you're knocked out. 3 knockouts, it's done. At least in a round. So he pretty much said, if I can at least get a hit, I'll be completely content, because he made it way further. He made it, like, I think twice as far as he did last year. So he got a few punches in, actually, before getting demolished. Then went on, unblindfolded, normally, just completely beat Mike Tyson, annihilated him. And then the guy after him was playing Super Punch-Out. And he said, okay, I'm probably not going to make that far. I've only done this, I've practiced quite a bit. he ended up actually beating Super Punch-Out entirely blindfolded. He only used one rematch, which was in the Super Circuit, the Super Secret Circuit. So, quite an impressive feat. There's absolute commotion. There's a bunch of other games that were actually in that video that we showed, because it's about a 10-hour video. Just because I guess someone didn't want to highlight it, so they just found the link. I think it was D-Toy that found the link and just said, here you go. It starts around minute 7, the first run, and then it goes to about a little past an hour, I think. About hour 20 or so, because it was also set up for the next game. But yeah, pretty awesome stuff. It was really spectacular. I watched both of them as soon as I found out, and by God, it was awesome. So yeah, there's that.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Next up, in other game news, Double Fine's kickstarted game Broken Age Act 1 is going to see release in very short time here. If you were one of the Kickstarter backers, it'll be releasing on January 14th. So we're in on that. We'll be getting that. I'll be getting that, which means they'll be getting that. And if you didn't back them, it's coming out soon. I don't know exactly when, but very soon here. Oh, they're going to announce the date then. That would be live. We don't know.
There we go.
So look forward to that. Also, Quake Live, you may know it as the browser-based online version of Quake, is no longer browser-based. They've got a PC desktop app client thing out there, and that is the only way to play now. So if you're on Mac or Linux, good luck.
Dual OS.
Dual OS, emulate something if you want to keep playing until they come out with that, which is most likely going to happen.
Yeah.
But I honestly cannot say for sure.
Well, looks like San Diego Comic-Con has dropped their 4-day badge purchase option. So now you have to buy each day individually. Now, if you were to buy all 4 days, so you buy 4-day passes, they'll upgrade you to a 4-day badge. But as of right now, it is not an option to just outright buy. They're doing it to kind of equal the chances of viewing Comic-Con, getting in Comic-Con, or letting more people have options to pay. Also, the pre-release? Preview night, or words. Pre-registration. That is the word. Yes.
Gotcha.
Pre-registration will be happening for anyone who went to the 2013 Comic-Con. You should have a code on your badge if you kept it to get you into the pre-registration for 2014. So.
All right. Fun stuff. I would like to say I want to go, but yeah, I don't know if that's going to happen. So.
Yeah, I'd like to go myself, but again, don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, it's on the wish list. Eventually, we'll get to go. So. One day. Maybe not this day. Anywho, moving on. Blockbuster announced a while ago, I believe it was on November 6th. Don't quote me on this. That was when the said article stated. But Blockbuster is finally closing its remaining stores for good. So they finally dropped the mailing service, I believe, mid-December. So they're finally getting around to closing their actual stores, as was announced back in November. So yeah, finally getting rid of Blockbuster almost as a whole, really. Yeah. So one might say it's a blockbuster of an announcement. With that failed joke, we'll move on.
Okay. So, SimCity. We're finally getting mod tools, official mod tools, but it's extremely restricted. EA says they're not going to monitor it, they're not going to screen everything, but they're screening things. Just outright. They said you can't do anything about the always online DRM. I don't even know if that's still a thing. I know some people hacked that. You can't do anything that interacts or that affects multiplayer experiences. You can't affect the size of the city, and a whole bunch of other restrictions. So you're really going to end up maybe adding more buildings, changing how they look, and that's really it. They said they'll punish people who don't follow those rules. Didn't say how.
Yay.
So,
Woo!
Thank you, EA. We love you.
yeah. In other awesome news, Yelp lost their court case when they were trying to defend the anonymity of 7 of their reviewers who wrote scathing reviews of, I think it was Hadid's cleaning in Virginia.
Sounds about right. Yep.
Hadid's cleaning was claiming that those 7 reviews didn't come from actual customers and that they were defamatory. So Virginia was like, alright, I dig. Show us the names. And Yelp didn't do it. They're like, no, we're going to repeal this first. And so the second case, same thing. But
Wow.
they did plan on repealing that as well. So, we'll see how far that goes.
Well, it looks like we're getting our new Windows operating system. Yay! So all you fans of 8, sorry.
Well,
Now, I think there may be some fans. Well, they plan on previewing it at Build 2014 in April. They plan on releasing it in 2015. It's codenamed Threshold, so and development should start this month. Not too much on it. It's supposed to be more Windows 7 like, if I'm not mistaken.
I think that's what they said. Bringing back start menu. And
Okay.
more prominent desktop.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how it is at Build 2014.
Yeah, we'll see if we can get it to go or not. I don't know. We'll see. Anywho, if try that again. If you've been living under a rock and haven't been in tune with tech news recently, and by recently I mean within the last few years, you will know that 4K monitors or monitors, TVs, etc., are becoming a thing. So, also, for a few years now, I've seen quite a few different prototypes of curved screens. Now, they're definitely making a bigger push for curved screens. I'm actually surprised they haven't done this sooner, at least on a massive scale. But yeah, there's quite a few different curved screens at different sizes. The biggest, I believe, being 110 inch. Maybe? Don't quote me on that.
There's definitely
No.
110 inch.
There's 110 inch Ultra HD, which is 4K size. I think the biggest one that I've seen so far is 77 inch 4K.
For the actual curved?
For the actual curved LG wise. So, like I said, again, super huge TVs. Don't know why they don't want to go with projector. Probably more feasible. I mean, I get the whole brightness, it's a pretty big deal because you do need a powerful bulb, and when you have a more powerful bulb, they tend to go out sooner. So, I get that, but hit the mic. But still, it's pretty interesting stuff. Like I said, the curved design is actually pretty nifty. I saw one. I think it was last year's CES or the year before. I think it was guys over at Inside Sim Racing covered it was essentially 3 monitors put together without the bezel, except for in the outer rim. So that was like the first official prototype. I think it was from NEC or whatever that company is. But yeah, like I said, that looked pretty badass. Another popular thing that I've seen is 3 projectors on a curved canvas. That's another thing I've seen, especially in sim racing, because, well, it's kind of badass having a triple monitor, especially with sim racing. so much more you can see, left, right, etc. But yeah, is it curved and big, massive structures of 4K TVs and TVs in general? I mean, yeah, it's pretty nifty stuff.
Just thinking, 77 inches. That's...
It's quite huge.
I'm not 77 inches tall. I'm pretty tall.
And he's pretty tall. He's taller than average for sure. By a ways.
Yes.
By a ways, as it is.
And,
Yeah, I mean, I've seen 72 inches because Ivan, I believe, compatriot,
Really?
he has a Mitsubishi Plasma.
Okay. I'm still taller than that, just not the 77.
So yeah, like I said, I have a pretty decent imagination of how big it is, but yeah, like, it's a little bit big.
Kind of impressive, I guess.
Just a big, They might say bigger is better, but whatever. Anyway, moving on.
Yes. Finally seeing some in-road induction charged electric vehicles. So, in the UK, later this month, 8 buses will be rolling out onto the streets of the suburbs. And they charge via induction in certain areas. There are 2 charging points. I think they said it takes about 15 minutes to charge the bus completely, which would correspond with the driver's break time. I believe they've placed those stations at the end of a route, or wherever the driver stops. I don't know where along the route that is. Probably the end, though.
Commonly, you see it at the end. I know a few of them were in between, like right in the middle, after a shift, and then another bus would take over. But most common,
Gotcha.
2 places will be beginning and end.
I would think so. Anywho, that'll be happening. 8 buses. It's really exciting. The concept was always thought of going to be, or imagined as, charging all electric vehicles under every road across the world. So you'd never have a charging station. You would just be charging as you were driving. But this is getting there.
Well, that would be really, really cool. Well, talking about cars, it looks like Ford executive James D. Farley Jr. has announced that, well, Ford is watching what you're doing as you're driving, where you are, how fast you're going, through GPS in your car. So if you assume a newer Ford, they're watching you. And the reason for this is so that advertisers can optimize their advertising towards people driving, blah, blah, blah. But they're watching you. So it's more of that push that we're seeing today towards big companies and government, private life almost being thrown out the window. So it's an eerie thought. That's all.
Yeah. Speaking of your private life being thrown out the window, Google has announced that you don't need someone's email address to email them anymore if they're on Google Plus and you're on Gmail. All you need is their Google Plus account name. You can send them an email. So if you didn't know that and you're using Google Plus, you may or may not want to disable that. By default, it is on. So, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess we'll move on to the last bit of news here. The motorsports/sim racing news. I only have 2 stories for you today. That's all I really saw. That, as I hit the mic again, that's all I really saw that really caught my eye. If you think I should have mentioned something else, go ahead. The first one I can think of is Michael Schumacher. No real change in his condition yet. Critical, but he's in a critical condition, but still stable, which is good. So, yeah, like I said, apart from that, I've yet to really see any updates or anything major coming out from that. Anywho, moving on. The big announcement this week, apart from people saying when they're going to unveil their cars, like, for instance, us, I believe it's January, us being McLaren, January 24th and other stuff, yeah, whatever. But we got testing this month for the first time in a while, if not ever. So that's gonna be fun. We'll cover that somewhat as as it happens. But anyway, the FIA finally announced the driver numbers for Formula One. Woo! I was rather surprised no one picked number 2. Sebastian Vettel picked 1, and he said when he's not world champion, he will be number 5. So, apart from that, I can go ahead and read a few because I forgot what some of them are. Sebastian Vettel was number 5. Number 1. Daniel Ricciardo, or Ricardo, as it should be pronounced, also from Red Bull. 3. Lewis Hamilton got 44. Nico Rosberg, number 6. Fernando Alonso got number 14. Kimi Räikkönen got 7. Romain Grosjean, who I believe his first pick was 7, got number 8. Pastor Maldonado got 13. Jenson Button got 22. Kevin Magnussen got 20. Quick tidbit on those two. Jenson Button chose 22 because that was the number when he won his world title with Braun. And I believe Kevin Magnussen picked number 20 because that was his number when he won, I believe it was Renault 3.5 last year. So he won a championship. Don't know what it was, but he won a championship with number 20, so that's why they picked that. Them two, at least I know. When the people are reporting there's not really that much news going on. So, yeah. Nico Hülkenberg picked 27. Sergio Perez got number 11, which is pretty awesome. Adrian Sutil decided to go screw the system. I'm going to pick number 99. Or at least that was one of his picks. I don't know if that was his first pick. Probably not. Esteban Gutierrez got 21. Jean-Eric Verne got 25. Daniel Kvyat, up-and-comer, got 26. Felipe Massa got 19. Valtteri Bottas got 77. Jules Bianchi got 17. And I don't remember if Chilton was announced, but at least in this press release, that's all we have. So still sad that no one picked 68, because that would make for an awesome story. Why'd you pick 68? Well, because at 69, you got to turn around. I went there. Woo! Anywho, moving on. Assetto Corsa is set to add 2 cars and a very big blockbuster thing, AI. So that's supposed to come January 17th. It's their first game from the studio that the studio is actually featuring AI in any of their games. So it's a pretty big deal. Everyone's hoping it's amazing. They have 2 teaser trailers on their YouTube page, which we'll link in the description with the story. But yeah, LaFerrari, McLaren P1, awesome cars. They're hybrids. They have 9,100 plus horsepower. They're absolutely badass. So totally got to check that out. But yeah, that's really all I got. So, don't know if y'all want to hit us up with how they can reach us and such.
Of course. You can reach us on Twitter, on Facebook. You can always send us an email. We also read the comments. Is there any more?
You can find us in real life, maybe. And we're
Good
on
luck.
Google Plus.
Google
Don't remember
Plus.
if that got mentioned.
I didn't mention it.
You could find our real name on Google Plus to be Audible Anomaly.
So you can send us a message now just by typing Audible Anomaly.
Probably, because I believe that's what it's set to. So, yeah.
All right.
Anywho,
Yeah.
as always, I'm Broseph.
I'm usually Kevin.
And I'm Davey.
See ya. Yeah, every time you hear resolution, expect a joke.
Not that time.
Oh, really? Okay.
Okay,
I
wow.
see how it is.
That was just you got to know the rules first, man.
I was expecting 360 of them. But anyway.
Oh.